Hey guys, this is Zara for Trans Youth, as always. So this week's topic is basically about trans people of color. And basically the idea that they may receive more discrimination than a trans person who is white. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what do you know about this, Zara? You're a white chick. You're white as they come. And you know, though my skin is white, something people don't know about me, something people would never guess until I tell them, is that I am actually only half white. My father is completely white. My mother, her whole family, up until her, lived in Guatemala, all came from Guatemala. I have Guatemala in my blood, half of it. But you know, you can't tell by looking at me. I look like just some other white kid. But really, I'm only half white. And I'm not saying that I understand because of that, because looking at me, I do appear fully white. You would never guess that I have anything other than white in me. And to be honest, I really can't say anything about race discrimination from a personal view. But I do have the stories that my mother has told me. Stories like when she married my father about 30 years ago, 1980. All the hate she got from people for what was happening there. Things like, oh my god, my mom has told me so many stories. Like, one of my sister's names is Sylvana. Sylvana. And my mom told me a story of people giving her so much hate for naming her that. Not that that's really a race-specific name, but basically people say it's not a white name. And they thought that she was offending my grandmother by not giving her a white name. And bullshit like that, but that's completely beside the point. What I was trying to say there is that there is still plenty of racism out there. My mother still gets it to this day, and she's told me stories, a million stories of her growing up, her with us, of racism. And so I can only imagine what racism is like, to be honest, because it's not something I have to deal with. But put that on top of being trans, and it must be absolutely terrible. And we're lucky to have, I'm sure you know the name Laverne Cox. Pretty much everybody knows the name Laverne Cox by now, seeing as Orange is the New Black is one of the most popular things on Netflix at the moment. Everybody I know talks about it. And Laverne Cox is on that show. She is both a trans woman and black, and she is super big in the community. She does a lot for it. And it's awesome. I've heard stories that she's told about basically that. About being picked on. Well, I think most of the stories I've heard have been about being picked on for, you know, wearing girls' clothes and stuff like that, which many trans women have gone through. But, you know, I'm sure she had to deal with a lot of racism as well. And look at where she ended up. She is probably the most famous trans person right now. I can't think of anyone who's more famous than her who is trans. I don't know. If you can, comment about it. Sound good? Good. So it's really unfortunate that racism still happens. You know, it's mostly gone now, to be honest. But it's still there. And it's never going to fully go away. It's the same with sexism. And it's the same with homophobia and transphobia. Though transphobia is still very common. I think eventually it'll be less and less and less, but it'll never go away. What I can say from personal experience is sexism is still a huge thing. I've experienced a lot of sexism since the time that I've transitioned. Oh, you can't do this, you're a woman. You can't fix a bike, you're a woman. You don't know how. I'll do it for you, I'm a big, strong man. And you know, it sucks. But, I don't know. I just kind of take it in stride, and sometimes I'll bitch about it, because it's annoying as hell. But I know it's not going to stop. Not fully. And so, you just kind of let people be the way they are at that point. Because, you know, it seems to be mostly from people who have this stuck in their head, probably since they were young. So they probably have it, to be honest, they probably have it harder than a trans person who is white. Because, you know, they have to go through so much more. It's not easy being a trans person. If you're trans yourself, you know that. It's something you don't do unless it honestly has to be done. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Actually, to be honest, until recently, I didn't know any trans people of color. Not in person, anyway. I mean, I know plenty of people online, but, you know, you can only get to know them so well. But when was it? Maybe last summer. I met somebody through a group that I went to. And he was a trans man, and he was black. And he's actually probably one of the... What's the word I'm looking for? Probably one of the most... He speaks his mind. He's not afraid to say what he wants to say. Whatever word I need to say that. He's one of those people. I know, I'm bad with words. Sorry. He did his own thing and did not give a fuck. Now, he is a model, and he models both male and female clothing, and I think that's fucking awesome, to be honest. There are plenty of models that do that, but I don't know how many of them are trans. I don't know, maybe that's worth looking into. But that's gotta take so much... Once again, I'm bad with words. That's gotta take so much courage to do that. You know, I'm a trans woman. If I were to go and model male clothing, I don't know if I could do that, to be honest. I'd be scared of people saying, oh, she looks like a dude, I don't know. And, you know, I guess that's the idea if I'm modeling male clothing, is that they want me to look like a dude, right? But I don't know if I can be that comfortable with myself to do that. But that's my point, is that he is. And he probably had to deal with just as much racism as he did transphobia, right? So he's a pretty amazing guy. My advice to you is, I don't know, just take it in stride. There's only so much you can do to make the world a better place. You can always try and teach people that you shouldn't be treated differently because of the color of your skin, or because you don't, or because you're trans or gay or whatever. You should always, if somebody makes a comment to you, you should always be saying, you know what, that's not right because of this and this and this. Take the opportunity to educate wherever you can get it. Most people won't listen to you. Most people are going to be like, you're fucking dumb. But some people will listen. And you're going to change the way that those some people think. Hopefully. If you need some advice, there are wonderful groups like GLAAD, which is the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation. They have, I believe, a group specifically for trans people of color. And you can probably get a lot of information there. It's a wonderful group. Yeah, so this is Zara for Trans Youth, of course. Mwah. Comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You guys know the drill. Love you. This week's topic is counseling for the LGBT community. Things like, why is it important? And mostly, how do you find a person who is supportive of the LGBT community and also knows what they're talking about?